What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at 5 fights that we need to see in 2024. Number 5, Colby Covington versus Dustin Poirier. This fight makes sense for a lot of reasons. You have two guys who can't seem to get to the title and really should only be looking for big money fights at this point in their careers. And that's exactly what this fight is. There's bad blood there, of course, with Colby Covington leaving American Top Team at some point, and Dustin Poirier has publicly stated that he is not a fan of Colby Covington. He already said that he wouldn't fight him in an octagon because if he wanted to fight him, it would just be on the street, but whatever, that's a load of nonsense. We all know that. Money talks, and if the money's there for Dustin, I think he'll definitely take this fight. This fight stylistically is terrible for Dustin, but after that last performance from Colby against Leon, I don't know if we'll ever see that really relentless Colby that we've seen in the past. I think that Colby is now gone, and this is the Colby we have now. And the Colby we have now is not really on the level of Dustin Poirier, but this fight makes sense, and it would be really fun to see. The build-up in this one would be awesome as well, so I'm all here for it. I think this fight should happen, and I think it's the one that makes sense for both of these guys. Number 4, Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards 2. Now, I know this one is probably not the most interesting out of the fights on this list, but frankly, it's the fight that needs to happen. Belal Muhammad is on a 9-fight win streak in the welterweight division, and he's been calling for this title shot for a long time now, and rightfully so. He's done the job, he's done the work that he needs to in order to get a title shot. I just don't think this fight would be very interesting on paper. I've heard rumors that this is the fight that is in talks right now, and they're looking at UFC 300 for this, which would be a tragic main event for that card. But if this is one of the fights on the pay-per-view that's like the third fight, maybe we get 3 title fights and this is the first one, I'm kind of okay with it. I think it makes sense. And yeah, this fight just needs to happen. Of course, last time when these two fought, it ended controversially with the eye poke from Leon Edwards, but if this fight were to happen now, I do still favor Leon to get the job done. I mean, he was getting the job done in the first fight until the eye poke, and I just think Leon's on a whole other level right now compared to a lot of these other top welterweights. I don't think any of them really have a chance of beating him besides Shavkat Rakhmonov right now. So yeah, if this fight does happen, I think Leon will get the job done comfortably, but because we've been hearing Belal just whine and ask for this fight, I just want it to get done at this point, just so we can keep him quiet and make him happy by giving him the shot, and we can move on to bigger and better fights in the welterweight division. Number 3, Umar Nurmagomedov against any top 10 bantamweight. This one, I kind of cheated a bit with the list, but it's what needs to happen. Umar Nurmagomedov is supposedly one of the best fighters in the bantamweight division, but we haven't exactly seen that yet. Of course, last year he was scheduled to face Corey Sandhagen in a main event, which would have been awesome to see and would have been a real nice test to see where Umar is at in his career, but that fight got canceled. Umar had to pull out due to injury, and since then we haven't seen him. So in 2024, I don't even care against who. I just want to see him break into that top 10 in the bantamweight division. So all this talk that we hear with him calling out Sean O'Malley and calling out all these top guys can be put to an end, and he can actually go there and prove that he is one of the best bantamweights on the planet. A lot of fights, when I hear about it, makes sense to me. Like, I like a Corey Sandhagen fight. I wouldn't be against that. I think that one kind of makes sense right now too, but it is going to be tough to get a lot of these top guys to accept a contract against Umar because they don't want to risk their rankings and their position in the division. But money talks, like I said. The fight can get done if it needs to. So yeah, let's get on that. Let's get Umar in a big fight early in 2024. So if he does win and continues to win, he can make a shot for the title towards the end of the year. Number 2, Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Now this should be the easiest fight out of all of these to make because you have the interim champion and you have the heavyweight champion, and we need to unify the belt. But a lot of weird stuff's been happening with this one. Of course, Jon Jones has said since the moment he walked into heavyweight that he wanted Stipe Miocic in a legacy fight. However, Jones, of course, had to pull out of their fight in November of last year when he got injured and he was unable to fight. And Stipe didn't want to fight anybody else, so here comes Sergey Pavlovich and Tom Aspinall to save the day. What does Tom Aspinall do? He goes out there and he knocks out Sergey Pavlovich in a minute. So there you go. That's as much of a statement as you can get, honestly, and he deserves the shot at Jon Jones now. But the UFC, Jon Jones, and I don't even know who involved seems to have different ideas. They want to still go on with the Stipe Miocic fight, and it just makes absolutely no sense. It's ridiculous. Tom Aspinall has gone out publicly and said how ridiculous it is, because we've never seen this really in the sport, where the interim champ and the actual champ won't be unifying the belts first. It looks like that they're going to make Tom sit on the sideline for a bit here, which is really unfortunate. It doesn't make sense. As long as we don't have to see him defend the belt against someone else, I'm okay with it. But either way, he shouldn't have to be waiting. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall is the fight to make, and is a fight that should happen. Whether Jon Jones wants it or not, whether Dana White wants it or not, it's a fight that needs to happen, and this fight needs to be made in 2024. Number 1, Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis. This is the fight that I want to see the most this year out of all of these fights that I've mentioned. And now it doesn't really make as much sense as it did 6 months ago, but it still needs to happen. The bad blood is there. Israel Adesanya is still one of the biggest stars the UFC has, and without the belt, it does hurt him a bit. But thankfully, we have Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis going down in a few weeks at the time of this recording. And if DDP is successful in that fight, you can bring in Israel Adesanya and the fight makes sense. Kinda. I mean, Izzy, of course, is coming off of a loss, so hopping right back into the title picture may not make too much sense, but realistically, there's no clear contenders that stand out at middleweight right now anyways. So if you pushed Izzy back into the spot, because you have Dricus du Plessis, you have the bad blood, you have the storyline there to sell this fight, I don't think people are going to complain too much. The buildup of this fight would be ruthless, it would be very entertaining, and the fight itself would be awesome as well. I mean, Israel Adesanya is still one of the best strikers in the world, and Dricus du Plessis is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated fighters on the UFC roster. The guy is an absolute beast, and I would be so happy if this fight was made in 2024. I think it is a little bit unlikely at this point, but things move quickly in MMA, and if DDP goes out there, gets the finish over Sean Strickland, hops on the mic and says he wants Israel Adesanya and he wants to finish this feud that they had, I don't think anybody involved says no. So yeah, this is the number 1 fight that I want to see in 2024. So there you guys have it. Those are the fights that I want to see happen this year in 2024. I think these are all great options and a lot of fights that need to happen because we've just been wanting them to happen for a while, or it just makes sense for both guys involved. One way or another, these fights need to be made. I want to hear what you guys have to say though. Let me know down below who you want to see fight this year. Who do you think deserves to fight who, and what do you think makes the most sense? I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. And yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching another one of these videos again. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. There's a bunch of content that I post all the time talking about things like this, and if it interests you, maybe you should stick around. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.